poor nurse helped a fainting old woman in the hospital, not knowing she was the millionaire CEO's mother. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. In the bustling corridors of Westbridge Hospital, where the fluorescent lights buzzed and the scent of antiseptic lingered in the air, Anna Roberts, a nurse in her late 20s, hurried through her shift. She had been a nurse here for over 3 years, but life hadn't been kind. Between her mother's ongoing illness and the struggle to make ends meet, Anna often found herself exhausted, running on caffeine and sheer determination. Today was no different. As she passed the patients' rooms, checking on them one by one, her thoughts were already focused on the bills she needed to pay. She had been working double shifts lately, trying to save enough money for her mother's treatments, but it never seemed to be enough. Anna was tired, yet her passion for her work kept her going. As she entered the emergency room, the sound of a faint cry broke her train of thought. She turned to see an elderly woman, her frail body collapsed in the hallway, her face pale as she swayed on her feet. Without hesitation, Anna rushed over, her heart racing. She gently steadied the woman, guiding her to a nearby bench. "Are you okay, ma'am?" Anna asked, her voice soft but firm, as she checked the woman's pulse. The elderly woman mumbled something incomprehensible, her hands trembling as she reached for Anna's arm. "I feel dizzy. I think I might faint," she whispered weakly. Anna's instincts kicked in. She quickly assessed the situation and, realizing the woman might need more help, called for a stretcher. As she waited for the team to arrive, Anna gently stroked the woman's hand, trying to comfort her. She was well accustomed to dealing with medical emergencies, but this moment felt different. Something about the woman's vulnerability seemed to stir a sense of urgency in Anna that she couldn't explain. The stretcher arrived, and Anna helped transport the woman to a nearby examination room. She was careful with every movement, ensuring the woman was as comfortable as possible. "We'll take good care of you," Anna assured her, her voice warm. As she helped the medical team check the woman's vitals, Anna felt an overwhelming sense of empathy. Despite her own struggles, she couldn't help but feel that this woman deserved the best care. She couldn't shake the thought of how easily this woman had collapsed, how fragile life could be. Once the woman was settled in the room, Anna made sure she had everything she needed, then stepped out for a brief moment to get some air. She couldn't help but wonder who this woman was and why she was here alone. It wasn't often she saw someone her age, alone and unaccompanied, in the hospital. But that wasn't the most puzzling part. Anna noticed that the woman's clothes, though simple, were incredibly well made, the kind of clothing only someone with money could afford. However, Anna brushed it off. After all, it wasn't her place to assume. Just as she was about to walk away, the elderly woman called out to her. "Thank you," she said with a weak smile. "You're very kind, dear." Anna smiled back, though she felt a pang of guilt. She didn't have the luxury of kindness, not in the way the wealthy did. But she did her best. She turned and walked back to her station, unaware that the woman she had just helped was about to change her life forever. Later that day, Anna was taking a break in the staff lounge when her phone buzzed. It was a message from her friend Jenny, reminding her to take a minute for herself and relax. Anna chuckled to herself as she typed a quick reply, but then something strange caught her attention. A voice, a familiar one, echoed from the hallway. She peeked out the door and saw a tall man in an expensive suit, holding a bouquet of flowers, walking toward the receptionist. He was clearly searching for someone, his eyes scanning the room. "Mr. Carter, welcome back," the receptionist said as the man approached. "I believe your mother is stable now." "Carter?" Anna's heart skipped a beat. She recognized the name. Grant Carter, the name on the tip of her tongue. The CEO of Carter Enterprises, one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the city. But why would he be here, in this hospital, and more importantly, why was he looking for his mother? Anna's curiosity got the better of her. She stood by the door, watching him walk down the hall, his every step exuding authority and control. She had no idea that this chance encounter was just the beginning of a whirlwind that would change her life in ways she could never imagine. As Anna walked back to her station, Her mind couldn't shake the events from earlier. The elderly woman she had helped, she now knew as Mrs. Carter, had been discharged and was resting comfortably. It was the mention of the name Carter that still echoed in her head. Grant Carter, the billionaire CEO, known for his shrewd business acumen and as the youngest self-made millionaire in the city. She had seen his face in newspapers and on the covers of business magazines, but she never imagined she'd be helping his mother in a hospital. Anna tried to focus on her tasks, but her thoughts kept drifting back to him. What was a man like him doing here, in the hospital, so concerned for his mother? It was hard to imagine someone as wealthy as him having such deep ties to a woman like Mrs. Carter. Despite everything, Anna couldn't help but feel a connection to them both. The following day, Anna's shift was like any other. She kept herself busy with rounds, checking in on patients, administering medication, and making sure everything ran smoothly. Yet, she couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something big was just around the corner. Around noon, as she walked through the hospital's entrance, she was startled when she saw a man approaching her. He was tall, dressed impeccably in a dark suit, and he had an air of confidence about him that immediately set him apart from everyone else. It was Grant Carter, the very same man she had seen on the news so many times. Anna froze for a moment, unsure of what to say or do. He was looking directly at her, his sharp blue eyes filled with recognition. "You're the nurse who helped my mother, right?" he asked, his voice deep but calm. Anna nodded, her voice momentarily escaping her. "Yes, Mr. Carter," she replied, unsure of how to respond to someone with so much power. "I just wanted to thank you personally," Grant continued, his gaze softening. "You've done more for her than anyone else could. She was so happy to see you, and you were the only one who truly seemed to care." Anna didn't know what to say. She had always seen herself as just a nurse, someone doing her job, but hearing Grant Carter speak like this was humbling. He wasn't just thanking her for doing her job. He was showing gratitude for her humanity, her kindness. Grant looked around the room for a moment, as if debating something. Finally, he spoke again, his voice low. "I'd like to offer you something. I know you're busy, but I've seen the way you care for people. I think you're someone who deserves more than what you have right now. I'd like you to come work for me." Anna blinked in surprise. "Work for you?" she echoed, still trying to grasp the enormity of what he was saying. "Yes, I'm looking for someone to help with my company's charitable foundation. It's a role I think you'd excel at." He paused, as if weighing his words carefully. "I'm offering you a chance to work in a place where you can make a difference, not just for the people you help, but for yourself, too." Anna felt a rush of emotions. This was a golden opportunity, something she never thought she'd ever be offered. But at the same time, she couldn't shake the doubt that filled her. She wasn't qualified. She didn't belong in the world of billionaires and CEOs. She was just a nurse, a woman from the working class who had struggled to make ends meet her entire life. "I don't know if I'm the right person for this," she said quietly, her voice trembling slightly. "I'm just a nurse. I don't have the experience for a job like that." Grant smiled, and for the first time, Anna noticed how kind his eyes were, how genuine his smile seemed. "I see more than just your qualifications, Anna. I see your heart, and that's what I need." He took a step closer, his expression intense but not threatening. "This could change your life. It could give you the freedom you've been working so hard for." Anna felt a mixture of excitement and fear bubbling inside her. She didn't know what to say, or even what to do next. But one thing was clear, her life was about to change. The question was, would she have the courage to take the opportunity that was being handed to her, or would she let fear hold her back? Anna sat at the small table in the hospital cafeteria, the light overhead casting a soft glow over her tired face. She absent-mindedly stirred her coffee, her mind racing with the conversation she had with Grant Carter just hours ago. His words echoed in her ears. "I see your heart, and that's what I need." The offer was still surreal. She had spent her entire life in the world of healthcare, fighting to make ends meet, caring for the sick, and working long shifts with little more than gratitude from patients. But this felt like a dream, a chance to step into a world where she could make a real difference, not just for others, but for herself too. Yet, the doubt lingered. Could she really step into that world? Could she leave behind the life she knew? Anna's phone buzzed, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a message from Jenny, her best friend and the only person who truly understood her struggles. "So, what's the deal with Mr. Carter? Are you going to take the job? Anna's fingers hovered over the keyboard as she thought about how to respond. She wasn't sure. The opportunity seemed too big, too out of reach for someone like her. She had always been the nurse in Scrubs, the woman who ran around making sure others were okay while her own life was falling apart. I don't know, Jenny. I just feel like it's too much. I'm not cut out for that kind of life. The response came quickly. Anna, don't you dare sell yourself short. You have more than enough to offer. This could change everything. Don't be afraid to grab it. Anna stared at her phone, the weight of Jenny's words settling deep inside her. Could she really grab it? Could she leave behind the world of patients, medicine, and hospital rooms for the uncertainty of a corporate job that required more from her than just medical skills? She had never imagined her life going down this path. But as she sat there, something in her shifted. What if Jenny was right? What if this was the break she had been waiting for? Anna stood up, her decision made. The next morning, she walked into the office of Grant Carter's Foundation, her heart pounding in her chest. The lobby was sleek and polished, everything about it exuding wealth and power. A receptionist smiled at her as she entered. You must be Ms. Roberts. Mr. Carter is expecting you. Right this way. Anna followed the receptionist down the hall, her footsteps echoing on the marble floors. When they reached a large conference room, Grant was already there, standing by a window, looking out at the city skyline. His suit looked expensive, his posture commanding, but there was a kindness in his eyes when he turned to greet her. Anna, I'm glad you could make it. I know this is a big step for you. His voice was warm, sincere. Anna nodded, her throat dry. I'm here. I'll give it my best shot. Grant smiled, his expression softening. I know you will. This isn't just about business. It's about helping people in a way that truly makes a difference. As they talked, Anna began to feel a sense of calm wash over her. She had doubts, of course, but there was something about Grant, something in the way he spoke to her, that made her feel like she belonged here. This wasn't just a job offer. It was an opportunity to change her life and the lives of others. And for the first time in a long time, Anna believed in her own potential. She took a deep breath, ready to start this new chapter. I'm ready, she said, her voice steady. Let's do this. Grant's smile widened. Welcome aboard, Anna. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do. As Anna walked out of the building later that afternoon, she felt a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years. She wasn't just a nurse anymore. She was someone who had been given the chance to change the world, and she was going to take it. The days that followed Anna's decision to join Grant Carter's Foundation were a whirlwind. She dove headfirst into her new role, which, although challenging, gave her a sense of fulfillment she had never known. The work was demanding, but it was meaningful. Anna was no longer just a nurse in a hospital. She was now part of a team, focused on improving lives, especially those in underserved communities. Her days were spent organizing outreach programs, working on community health initiatives, and even traveling to areas that lacked basic healthcare resources. Grant, despite his busy schedule, made time to meet with her regularly, offering guidance and support. Their conversations, always respectful and thoughtful, made Anna feel like she was part of something important. One afternoon, as Anna was reviewing some data on a new charity event Grant had planned, he asked her to meet him in his office. I have a new project I want you to lead, he said, his tone both serious and excited. Anna's heart raced as she sat across from him. What is it? She asked, her curiosity piqued. We're going to launch a healthcare initiative in some of the poorest parts of the city. We'll be setting up mobile clinics, offering free medical care to people who can't afford it. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I want you to take the lead. Anna felt a surge of excitement. This was the kind of work she had always dreamed of doing, but she had never imagined she would have the opportunity to lead it. I'm honored, Grant, she said, her voice filled with determination. I won't let you down. Over the next few weeks, Anna worked tirelessly, organizing the logistics, recruiting medical professionals, and coordinating with local community leaders. The project was big, and the stakes were high, but Anna was more than ready. She knew that this was the chance she had been waiting for to truly make a difference. The day of the first mobile clinic arrived, and Anna stood outside the van, watching as the team set up. The sight of people lined up, waiting for free medical care, filled her with a sense of purpose. This was why she had joined Grant's Foundation, to help people in need, to give them the health care they deserved. As she walked through the crowd, greeting patients and talking to volunteers, she felt a sense of pride she had never felt before. This was the work that mattered. It wasn't about the money, the prestige, or the recognition. It was about helping people who had no other options. As the clinic wound down that day, Anna received a call from Grant. "How did it go?" he asked. "It was amazing," she replied, her voice full of gratitude. "We've already helped so many people, and we're just getting started." Grant's voice softened. "I knew you were the right person for this, Anna. You've done more in a few weeks than most people do in a lifetime." Anna smiled, feeling the weight of his words. "Thank you for believing in me," she said quietly. "You've given me more than a job, Grant. You've given me a chance to change the world." That night, as Anna sat in her small apartment, looking at the pictures from the clinic, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. She had made the right choice. This wasn't just a job, it was her calling. And as she looked ahead, she knew that her journey with Grant and the foundation was just beginning. She had come so far, but there was so much more to do. And she was ready. As the weeks went by, Anna found herself becoming more and more immersed in her new role at the foundation. The mobile clinics were a success, and they were expanding into new areas. Anna was working harder than ever, but the sense of fulfillment she felt was unlike anything she had ever experienced. Each day, as she helped others, she realized that this was the work she had always been meant to do. One afternoon, Grant invited Anna to join him at a fundraising gala. It was being held to raise money for the foundation's next big project, a health clinic that would serve a community in need. Anna was hesitant at first. She wasn't used to these kinds of events. The thought of being in a room full of wealthy donors and high-profile individuals made her nervous. But Grant reassured her. "You've earned your place here, Anna," he said. "You've done more than anyone else to help this cause. It's time you take the spotlight." That night, as Anna walked into the grand ballroom, she couldn't help but feel out of place. The room was filled with elegant people in expensive suits and gowns, the air thick with conversation and laughter. The sight of the glittering chandeliers above and the polished marble floors made her feel small, as if she didn't belong. But as she walked further into the room, she saw Grant standing near the stage, talking to a group of guests. When he noticed her, he excused himself and made his way over. "You look amazing," he said, his eyes softening as he took in her appearance. Anna blushed, not used to the compliments. "Thank you," she said quietly. "I don't really belong here, do I?" Grant chuckled. "You belong here more than most of them," he said with a wink. "You've worked harder than anyone else in this room, Anna." As the night went on, Anna found herself in conversations with some of the attendees. At first, she was unsure of how to interact with people so different from the world she had known. But with each passing conversation, she began to relax. She spoke about the work the foundation was doing and the impact it was having on the communities they served. She talked about the mobile clinics and how they were making a real difference in people's lives. The guests were impressed by her passion and dedication. By the end of the night, Anna had made connections with several people who were eager to support the foundation in new ways. When the gala came to an end, Grant pulled Anna aside. "I'm proud of you," he said, his voice sincere. "You've come a long way. You're not just a nurse anymore. You're a leader in this organization, and you're making a real difference." Anna felt a wave of emotion wash over her. She had spent so much of her life doubting herself, never believing she could be more than just a nurse. But now, she saw the truth. She had the power to lead, to inspire, and to make a lasting impact on the world. "Thank you, Grant," she said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "I couldn't have done it without you." Grant smiled, his eyes meeting hers. "You didn't need me to do it, Anna. You just needed to believe in yourself." As they walked out of the ballroom together, Anna felt like a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She was no longer just a nurse. She was a woman with a purpose, a leader with the power to change lives. And as she looked at Grant, she realized that the journey they had started together was only just beginning. The weeks that followed the gala were some of the most transformative for Anna. The support from the fundraising event had given the foundation the resources to expand its initiatives, and Anna was at the heart of it all. She threw herself into her work with an intensity that surprised even herself. It wasn't just about leading projects anymore. It was about leading change. She had become a beacon of hope for so many people, and the more she saw the impact of her work, the more driven she became. Yet, despite the momentum and success, Anna couldn't shake a feeling of unease that had been growing within her. As her responsibilities at the foundation grew, so did her sense of distance from her former life. The relationships she had once held close seemed to fade into the background, and she found herself alone, even in the midst of the busy office and the constant flow of people she now worked with. She realized that she had been so focused on her career and the work at the foundation that she had neglected the personal side of her life. She missed her mother, who was still struggling with her health, and Jenny, her best friend, who had been a constant source of support before Anna's world had changed. One evening, as she sat alone in her office after hours, the door to her office creaked open. It was Grant. He walked in, his presence filling the room as he approached her desk. "Anna, you've been working nonstop," he said, his voice soft but firm. "You need to take a break." Anna looked up at him, her exhaustion evident in her eyes. "I'm fine," she said, though she knew deep down that she wasn't. "I just have a lot on my plate right now." Grant studied her for a moment, as if weighing his words carefully. "I get it. But remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. You've done so much for this foundation, but you need to take care of yourself, too." His words struck a chord with Anna. She had always put others before herself, always been the one to help, to support, to give. But she had never stopped to think about what she needed. "I don't even know where to begin," she confessed, the weight of everything finally hitting her. "I feel like I've lost touch with the things that really matter." Grant pulled up a chair and sat down across from her. "It's okay to feel like that, but don't let the work consume you. There's more to life than this building, Anna. You're not just the foundation, and you're not just this job. You're someone who deserves happiness and balance." Anna took a deep breath, realizing how much she had neglected herself. "I don't know how to find that balance," she admitted. Grant smiled gently, offering her a reassuring look. "Start small. Spend time with your family. Reconnect with your friends. Make time for the things that bring you joy." The next day, Anna decided to follow Grant's advice. She called her mother and made plans to visit her, something she had been putting off for far too long. She also called Jenny, arranging to meet for coffee. She realized that despite all the changes in her life, the people who truly cared about her were still there, waiting for her to come back. As she spent the weekend reconnecting with her family and friends, Anna felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt in months. The balance she had been searching for was right there in front of her. All she had to do was reach out. When she returned to the foundation the following week, she felt refreshed and reinvigorated. She was ready to tackle the challenges ahead, not as someone who was overwhelmed, but as someone who knew her worth and understood the importance of taking care of herself. As Anna looked ahead, she realized that the journey she had started was far from over. She had grown, not just in her career, but as a person. And with the support of those around her, she knew she could continue to make a difference in the world while never losing sight of what truly mattered. As Anna settled back into her routine at the foundation, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in what she had accomplished. The mobile clinics were growing, and the outreach programs had expanded into multiple new areas. The team she had worked so hard to build was thriving, and the partnerships she had forged were making a tangible difference in people's lives. But even as the foundation flourished, there was an undercurrent of unease within her. Her relationship with Grant, while built on mutual respect, had become more complicated over time. There were moments when they would share a quiet lunch or a late-night conversation about the work they were doing, but Anna started to notice the shift. He was often distant, buried in his own thoughts, and while he continued to praise her dedication and drive, something felt off. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but she began to sense that Grant was holding back. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the city lights flickered on, Anna stayed late at the office, reviewing reports for an upcoming initiative. The door to her office creaked open, and she looked up to see Grant standing there, his face serious, almost tired. "Can we talk?" he asked softly. Anna felt a pang of worry, but she nodded, setting aside her papers. "Of course," she said, trying to read his expression. He took a deep breath and sat down across from her, his hands clasped together. "I've been thinking a lot lately, Anna. About the foundation, about everything." His voice trailed off, and Anna's heart skipped a beat. She knew this wasn't going to be a typical conversation. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice gentle but filled with concern. Grant looked up, his eyes meeting hers, but there was a sadness in them that made Anna's stomach twist. "I'm struggling," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I started this foundation to make a difference, but I've lost sight of why I'm doing all of this. I've been so focused on the mission, on growing the foundation, that I've forgotten to take care of myself, and I've neglected the people around me. Anna was silent for a moment, processing his words. She had always admired Grant's drive and commitment to the cause, but she had never seen him like this, vulnerable and uncertain. Grant, she said softly, I know you've been through a lot, but you can't do this alone. You've built something incredible here, but you're not just the CEO of a foundation. You're a person, too. Grant sighed, rubbing his face with his hands. I know. I don't know how to fix it. Anna stood up and walked over to him, placing a hand on his shoulder. We'll fix it together, she said, her voice firm but caring. But you need to let go of the idea that you have to do everything yourself. You have a team, Grant. You have people who care about you. He looked up at her, his eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, he whispered. I've been so focused on doing things the right way that I've forgotten what really matters. Anna smiled, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. We all need to be reminded of that sometimes, she said. But you've already done the hard part. You've created something that matters. Now it's time to take care of yourself, too. Over the next few weeks, Grant made a conscious effort to reconnect with his personal life, spending more time with his family, and even taking a break from the demands of the foundation. Anna continued to lead the projects, her confidence growing with each success. Their relationship evolved, moving from the professional respect they had shared into something deeper, and understanding that they were both in this together, not just as colleagues, but as people who cared for one another. One afternoon, as they stood outside the foundation's headquarters, looking out over the city, Grant turned to Anna, a genuine smile on his face. You've been incredible, he said. I don't think I could have done this without you. Anna smiled back, her heart swelling with pride. We did this together. She knew that their journey wasn't over. There was still so much work to be done, so many people to help, and so many lives to change. But for the first time in a long while, she felt truly at peace, knowing that she wasn't alone in this. Together, they could achieve anything. The days that followed were some of the most rewarding in Anna's life. The foundation continued to thrive, with new projects and initiatives taking shape every week. The mobile clinics were expanding to more areas, reaching communities that had long been neglected. It felt good to see her hard work paying off, but the real transformation was happening within her. She was no longer just a nurse. She was a leader, a change maker, and for the first time, she truly felt like she belonged in the world she had entered. But despite the progress, there was still one thing that weighed on Anna's mind: the relationship between her and Grant. Their connection had deepened over time, and they had grown close, supporting each other through the ups and downs of their professional lives. But lately, something had shifted. Grant had been distant again, his mind preoccupied with the foundation's next big project. Anna could feel the distance growing between them, and it left her wondering if their bond could survive the pressure they both faced. One evening, as the team gathered in the conference room to discuss the next phase of their initiative, Anna noticed Grant was quieter than usual. His usual charisma was replaced with a look of exhaustion, as though he had been carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. After the meeting, Anna found him standing by the window, staring out at the city lights. She walked up to him, her steps hesitant. "Grant," she said softly. He turned to her, offering a weak smile. "Hey, Anna. I didn't see you there." There was an odd tension in the air, something unspoken between them. "Are you okay?" Anna asked, her voice gentle but filled with concern. Grant sighed and rubbed his temples. "I don't know," he admitted. "I've been so focused on everything, trying to push the foundation forward, that I've forgotten to take care of myself. And I feel like I'm losing touch with the people around me." Anna's heart ached as she listened. She had seen the signs before: the late nights, the increasing pressure, the growing distance. But hearing him admit it made it feel all the more real. "Grant, you don't have to do this alone," she said, her voice firm. "We're a team. You've built something amazing here, but it's okay to let others help you carry the weight." Grant looked at her, his eyes filled with gratitude but also a deep sadness. "I don't know if I'm cut out for this, Anna," he said quietly. "I've spent so many years building this empire, and now I'm not sure if it's worth it if I lose everything else in the process." Anna stepped closer, her hand gently resting on his. "You won't lose everything," she said, her voice filled with conviction. You've already created something that matters. The foundation, the people we've helped, it's already worth it. And you don't have to sacrifice your happiness or the people you care about to make it work. For a moment, they stood there in silence, the weight of their conversation hanging in the air. Anna could see the vulnerability in Grant's eyes. The man who had always been so strong, so driven, now facing his own doubts and fears. It was a side of him she had never seen before, and it made her realize just how much they needed each other. "I'm here for you, Grant," Anna said softly. "We've been through so much together, and I know we can get through this too." Grant smiled, his expression softening. "Thank you, Anna. I don't know what I'd do without you." They stood there for a moment longer, the city lights casting a warm glow around them. As Anna looked into Grant's eyes, she realized that their journey together was far from over. They had both been on separate paths, but now they were aligned in a way that felt right. It wasn't just about the foundation anymore. It was about the connection they shared and the future they could build together. With renewed determination, Grant squeezed her hand and said, "You're right. I can't do this alone. Let's face this together." And with that, they both knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them side by side, as partners in both their work and their lives. The following months were a turning point for both Anna and Grant. The foundation flourished more than ever, thanks to the collaborative efforts of their dedicated team. Together, they created projects that not only served the immediate needs of communities, but also set the groundwork for sustainable change. As Anna stepped into her new role as a key leader within the foundation, she saw the impact of her work in the faces of the people they helped, and it filled her with a sense of pride she had never known. But beyond the professional success, something deeper was unfolding. Her relationship with Grant had transformed into something more meaningful. They no longer saw each other as just colleagues, but as partners in every sense of the word. They spent countless hours together planning initiatives, but their bond grew outside of work as well. They began spending more time together, away from the pressures of the foundation, talking about their dreams, their hopes, and what the future might look like for both of them. It was in these quiet moments that Anna realized how much she had come to care for Grant, not just as a colleague or mentor, but as someone who had become an integral part of her life. One evening, after a long day of meetings and planning, Grant asked Anna to meet him at the rooftop of the foundation's building. The city stretched out before them, the skyline glowing under the night sky. The soft hum of the city below only added to the peacefulness of the moment. As Anna stepped onto the rooftop, she saw Grant standing near the edge, his hands in his pockets, looking out at the city. "You're here," he said with a soft smile. Anna walked up to him, her heart beating a little faster. "Of course, I'm here," she said, her voice light. But there was something in her eyes that spoke volumes. Grant turned to face her fully, his expression serious but gentle. "Anna, there's something I've been wanting to say to you. Over the past months, I've seen you grow, not just as a leader, but as a person. You've changed the lives of so many people, including mine. And I realize now that I can't imagine my future without you in it." Anna's heart skipped a beat. She had never expected Grant to say something like this, but the words felt right, as though they had been lingering between them all along. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "Grant, she started, but before she could finish, Grant reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. He opened it to reveal a simple, elegant ring. "Anna, would you marry me?" he asked, his voice filled with sincerity. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Anna's mind raced, but her heart knew exactly what it wanted. This was the man who had been by her side through the toughest challenges, the one who believed in her when she didn't believe in herself. He was more than just a partner in the foundation. He was the person who had shown her what it meant to live a life full of purpose, passion, and love. "Yes," Anna said, her voice full of emotion. "Yes, I will." Grant smiled, a look of pure happiness in his eyes as he slipped the ring onto her finger. As they embraced, the city lights twinkling below, Anna knew that this was the beginning of a new chapter in both their lives. Together, they had built something remarkable, and now they were ready to build a life together, hand in hand. Their journey had not been easy, but it had been worth every step. They had found not just success in their work, but a deep connection that would sustain them for years to come. And as they stood there on that rooftop, Anna realized that the Real Foundation they had built was not just one of charity and change, but one of love, trust, and a shared future.